Hello everyone, my name is Olivia, and today I'm going to recommend you books that are perfect to read during autumn or books that feel like autumn to me. So these books either are set during autumn or they just have that vibe of this season. So all of these books either feel incredibly cozy, have a very atmospheric type of writing style, or are spooky reads that are perfect to pick up during this season. I actually have a part 1 of this type of video series where I recommend books to read around autumn time. I have a video all about the books that you should read during October, so I'll be sure to link that video down below if you have not seen it before. So grab a mug of pumpkin spice coffee like I'm doing right now, and let's get into the book recommendations. So the first book that I want to recommend is a book that I always mention, but I don't see a lot of people reading, so I'm going to keep on mentioning it until one of you picks up the book and tags me in it so I can finally shut up. And it is Security. Security was recommended to me by my friend Samaya over on Instagram, and when she told me to pick up this book, I went to my library, took it out, and read it in one sitting because it's a pretty short novel. This is a slasher horror story about a group of employees working at the Mandalay Hotel. This is heavily inspired by Rebecca, by the way. So these employees are setting up for the eventual grand opening that's happening, I think, either the day after or in a week or two, and they are making sure that every single room is prim and proper, but they don't realize that every single move they make is being watched, and one by one they're going to be killed off. That is not a spoiler, it's in the synopsis. And what makes this story so interesting is that we follow this omnipresent point of view as we watch these different employees in these various rooms in this hotel as they are being hunted down. What I always like telling people about this book is that this has one of the most unique writing styles that I have ever read, and I don't read a lot of horror novels, I don't read a lot of thrillers, so I don't have a lot to compare it to, but this is one of the most unique novels ever because in certain sections there are columns, and these columns show different points of views from different employees. So these events are happening at the same time. So you read one column, then the next, and these are all happening simultaneously. The way this novel is written is unlike anything I've ever read before. It feels like a screenplay in book form. It is so gripping and thrill-inducing, and you will not want to put this book down. And it is just so well done. I think that people would love this if they gave it a shot. I know that the new cover for this book is not cute whatsoever. I'm really glad I got this edition. Ignore that cover, just like put that cover aside, read it on ebook or something, but pick up this novel because you will not regret it. And do not pick it up on audiobook. Not saying that the audiobook is bad, it's just that because it has such a unique writing style, you're going to miss a lot and feel very confused if you were to listen to it on audiobook. So just a fair warning, I would highly recommend reading it on ebook or physically. A classic gothic novel that I would highly recommend you pick up around autumn time because gothic novels are just perfect to pick up during this season. They're very gloomy, they're very existential, and just full of horror. Love them so much. Would be The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is one of my favorite classic novels of all time. It is just so well done. It's a very readable piece of literature. I don't think that it's too difficult to get into. I think the writing style is beautiful, but not in a way that the story drags on. So this follows a man named Dorian Gray, and he hires someone to paint a portrait of him. So it says he decides to sell his soul for eternal youth and beauty. As a result of this seedy exchange, Dorian remains unchanged, ageless, vain, and immoral, while his portrait grows increasingly hideous with the years. I'm sure you've heard so much about Dorian Gray. I was first introduced to it through Penny Dreadful, which is one of my favorite horror shows of all time. I think it's fantastic, but not the last season. We don't talk about the last season, but I think that they really portrayed the horrendousness that is Dorian Gray very well in that show, so if you're interested in that show, definitely go watch it. But this novel explores Dorian Gray as he is dealing with this curse set upon him, and he is making his way through society in this very amoral way, which was described in the synopsis. Oscar Wilde is so talented in crafting such dramatic and theatrical main characters. They are outlandish and ridiculous, but the way that the story just unfolds, the writing style, the darkness to it, it's very subtle, but it's there at all times, is wonderful. If you have not read Dorian Gray and if you're looking for a classic to read around Halloween time, this is definitely the book for you. A book that I did not think I would like but ended up really enjoying and would be perfect to read around autumn time because it is a mystery, a dark academia, and I think it would be just perfect to read either if you're in university or if you're out of university like me and you just want to look for something gloomy to read. You have to pick up The Maidens. I did not enjoy The Silent Patient by this author. I thought it was terrible. It's one of my least favorite books of this year, but I picked up this book first, and I did not know about The Silent Patient beforehand. I gave The Silent Patient 1 star, and I gave this 4.5 stars. So the synopsis of The Maiden says, it's a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense weaving together Greek mythology, murder, and obsession. So this follows a woman who finds out that there is a murder that happened on her niece's campus, and she wholeheartedly believes that this one professor did it, and she will go out of her way and do whatever she can to prove that he killed this one student. I want to read you the first couple of sentences of this novel because that is what immediately hooked me into the story. So here we go. Edward Fosca was a murderer. This was a fact. This wasn't something Mariana knew just on an intellectual level. As an idea, her body knew it. She felt it in her bones, along with her blood and deep within every cell. This book is so good. If you did not like The Silent Patient and you are unsure if you would like The Maidens, they're so different, and I think this is so much better. It's so much more compelling. There's like an actual moving plot compared to The Silent Patient, which was so boring to me. This mixes together Greek mythology, dark academia, a murder mystery, a woman's obsession with a case and her devotion to it and how she wants to stop at nothing to solve this case, and it's just so good. It weaves together so many different things that I love. If you mention Greek mythology and dark academia, I'm there. I'm ready. It's so good. I highly recommend it on audiobook as well. I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook. It felt like a movie in my mind and I could not stop listening to it, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for an audiobook to listen to around Halloween time, definitely listen to this because I loved the twists and turns that this book took. I loved the reveals. I loved everything about it, and I loved how it really explored what obsession was like and how someone can lose themselves into a case or into someone's life and kind of ruin themselves because of that. A book that is sure to make an appearance on every single person's autumn books recommendations videos is going to be The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is one of my favorite books of all time, so I have to talk about it because the lyrical writing style and the beautiful story woven inside it is unlike anything I've ever read before, and it just feels like autumn in my heart. I don't remember what season this book takes place in, but I'm pretty sure it's autumn, so I think this is my first book in this video that it actually takes place during autumn, but I could be wrong. So The Starless Sea follows a man named Zachary, and he is in university. He visits his university's library one night and decides to take out a book that is very mysterious, doesn't have a label on it, and isn't really logged into the library. So he decides to take it back to his dorm and read it for a bit. It says its pages entrance him with their tales of lovelorn prisoners, lost cities, and nameless acolytes, but they also contain something impossible, a recollection from his childhood. So he decides to follow the clues in this novel and go on a journey to find out how this book has the memories from his childhood. So it says, you are invited to join Zachary on the Starless Sea, the home of storytellers, story lovers, and those who will protect our stories at all costs. This is a book for people who love books, obviously. This is a book that celebrates the beauty of literature. It celebrates the beauty of symbolism. It has everything you would want and more as a reader, and I don't think I will ever find a novel as beautiful as The Starless Sea. So if you're looking for something that will take you a pretty long time to read, this actually took me a month to get through, I would highly recommend this book. It's the perfect book to sit down and read with a cup of coffee on a rainy day and just dive into the story and have yourself get lost in it. Cannot recommend it enough. Also, while I'm here, if you have a story that's similar to The Starless Sea in the way that it's beautifully written, it is atmospheric, it is lyrical, put your recommendations down below because I have one that's similar to The Starless Sea that I'm going to recommend next, but I want more recommendations from you guys. Another book that I have to recommend that reminds me a lot of the Starless Sea and its beautiful writing style and the way that it has such a unique type of plotline that is whimsical and magical is Piranesi. I have a reading vlog where I read this book in its entirety, so if you want to watch that to get my in-depth thoughts about the novel, I will link that down below. Piranesi follows a man named Piranesi, and he lives in a very unique building where the sky is on the inside of the house and there is an ocean at the bottom of the building that he lives in. Piranesi lives with one other person in this building, and his name is the Other. The Other meets with Piranesi once every 2 weeks to talk about some research that they are compiling together about some great knowledge that he is trying to acquire. But then, one day, Piranesi begins to suspect that another person is living in this building, and he is trying to find out who that is. So this novel is so fantastical. The setting that Susanna Clarke crafts is wonderful and incomparable to any other book besides The Starless Sea. They both have the same vibe for me, but I cannot describe what that vibe is. It's just like a love for novels, beautiful symbolism. There are so many different plot lines in one story, and it melts together in such an effortless way that flows so beautifully that I just cannot compare it to any other book. These books kind of fit together perfectly, and I think if you love The Starless Sea, you would greatly enjoy Piranesi. Piranesi did not become a new favorite novel of mine, but I did give it 4 stars, which is very high praise for me because I've gotten very picky with my ratings. So it's not as awe-inspiring as The Starless Sea, but there's still something about Piranesi that I always think about, and I think it's just because overall that story is beautiful and mysterious and it's unfolding very slowly, and that's what I really enjoy about it. A contemporary novel that I think has some autumnal vibes is Open Water. Open Water follows 2 artistic people in London as they meet at one day at a party and they fall in love with each other. So this novel is very simple in its plot. It just follows the love story between these 2 main characters, and you get to witness the initial sparks of their love. You get to witness their first banter, their first fights, the way that they feel when they finally realize they are in love with this person, and it effortlessly captures the essence of falling in love in such a beautiful way. It's short, it's bittersweet, it is atmospheric. I highlighted this book backwards and forwards. It was so amazing, and I don't really know how to describe why I feel like this book feels autumnal to me. I think the way that this story unfolds and the way that it captures love feels like what it's like to fall in love during autumn time, during Christmas. I think the way that the story is so short and takes its time unfolding just feels very autumnal to me. I think it's because I read some slow-moving novels around this time of year, so that's why I would have to recommend Open Water. And the last book that I have to recommend to you is a book that I like to describe as no plot, just vibes, and it is Whereabouts. The best way I can sum up Whereabouts is the word sonder. Sonder is the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and as complex as your own. Whereabouts follows a woman who is just living her life. She is meeting with friends, she is meeting with family members, and she is simply living her life. So each chapter is a different moment in her life, and some chapters will have like a life lesson at the end of it. Other chapters will simply be a glimpse and a snapshot into this woman's life. And I really enjoyed it because I feel like not every book has to have an end goal to it. There shouldn't be a life lesson at the end of every story. Some stories simply can just be, and that's what's Whereabouts. Whereabouts is a novel that is seemingly mundane and other people may think is boring, but it captures the simple moments in life that seem unimportant but actually hold a lot of value because those little moments create your entire life. So if you are looking for a novel that doesn't take a lot of energy out of you, that doesn't have a complex plot, just something very slow moving, you have to read Whereabouts. There's not a lot going on in it, and there's not a lot to share with the story, but the writing and the way that the author just captures the beauty of the simplicity of life, is fantastic. So those are some books that remind me of autumn and are perfect to read around this time of year. Let me know if you have read any of these books or if you have some great autumnal book recommendations that you think would fit my reading style based off of these books that I recommended to you. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media links will be down below. I'm very active over on Instagram and TikTok. I'm having a great time over on those two platforms. So if you want to see a bit more from me and my personal life, follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!